Daddy soldiers. It's Shadow and Bone season, baby. For today's video, I am decked out. I got my antler necklace, I have my Grisha pin, and I have my 2 rings. This one aptly is No Mourners, No Funerals, and I have my raven skull on the other hand. If you think this is a lot, just wait until that merch line drops. The Netflix adaptation for Shadow and Bone dropped on Friday, and I binge watched it in one night. It was so good, and I have so many feelings towards it, but I'm so happy that it turned out the way it did, and that Netflix didn't fuck up this adaptation, because I have watched so many YA adaptations in my time, and this one was beautiful. I'm gonna break this video down into multiple sections. I'm gonna give a non-spoilery part of my overall thoughts. I want to go over some things that they changed, things they kept the same, some characters, and some of my favorite scenes, and then I have a entire portion of this script just titled Miscellaneous, so we'll see what ends up there. Leigh Bardugo has 3 series in her Grishaverse, the first of which being the Shadow and Bone trilogy, the Six of Crows duology, and now the King of Scars duology. When they first announced that the season of Shadow and Bone would be the first Shadow and Bone book and Six of Crows put together, I was skeptical because these books take place in 2 different timelines. But it works because Six of Crows is just a heist plotline where they're going after a big reward. So they just took the heist aspect from there and put it into Shadow and Bone, where they still have a heist to pull off and a reward to get, but it just more like seamlessly integrates those timelines together. So like I said, this first portion, if you have not watched the whole series, you are welcome to stay, because it's going to be some general thoughts about the series as a whole, and the only spoilers in here are going to be extraordinarily vague. And if you don't know anything about the Grishaverse or like Six of Crows, what are you doing here? Come back after you watch the show. I was trying not to get my expectations up too high for this series, but it was beautiful. I cried at every episode. Seeing this world brought to life was incredible, especially when you see the time and the effort and the budget that they put into this. This was not some group of fans who like made a student film over the weekend. Like, this had the money, this had the script. You can really see all of the actors really care about their characters, and you can really see that the way that they built design sets and the way that, you know, the characters interact, that people behind this project really loved it. YA adaptations are not known for being good. It's usually, you know, the star of the moment with some goofy special effects. City of Bones. Percy Jackson. This crew put their heart and soul into it, and you can really tell the difference. The costuming was immaculate. Oh my god. Keftas! Look at the keftas! Every single actor was their character. I don't say that lightly, because they have some big shoes to fill. There's some very beloved characters in this book series, and even though I was skeptical at first for a couple of these people, they'd start speaking, and like 2 lines in, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, no, I believe it. I get why they hired you now. Everybody did such a good job, and everyone's so beautiful, and I'm slightly in love with every cast member now. Oh, I got the thrill of being able to watch characters say their famous lines. Oh my god, that is the only drug I need. I am very impressed, and I cannot wait for season 2. Now also, want to bring up the racism aspects of this, because I think that it's interesting and topical and something that we need to talk about. So in this world, the main country we're in is named Ravka, and it's a approximation of Russia. Kierda, the northern part of the country, is loosely based on the Netherlands, and the Shuhan is the lower country that is loosely based on China. The actress Jessie May, who plays Alina Starkov, our main character, is Asian, and so they made Alina part Shu. In the original series, Alina is white, but there is nothing in the books that would cause an issue if the character was a person of color. However, they tried to put in a bit of a prejudice and racism plotline with Alina being part Shu, and I don't think it quite worked. These are not spoilers, by the way. I'm going to be talking about this very generally. From the very first episode, it's shown that Ravka has an anti-Asian racism towards Alina. You know, they say like, go home, or like, what are you doing here? There are many comments on her looks. So it's set up that Ravka is racist against Shu. However, it's only ever against her. A big part of the series is that Mal, her childhood friend, is also mixed, and he never gets made fun of. But it's not a sexism thing, because it's said that in Ravka, both men and women go fight in the army, and there are plenty other characters of color in this series. We're never given an explanation as to why people don't like the Shuhan or why they're at war with them, because the main conflict in at least this season of this series is against West Ravka. So there aren't any other Asian characters in this series, and she is specifically picked on for being part Shu. So I don't know if they're like trying to bring in this anti-Asian hate that's currently happening in the world and like trying to make that a thing, or if this was just something that they put in more but like the editing took it away or made it patchy. But the way the final product looks is more like jarring and uncomfortable than it is something that belongs to the world. It would have worked just fine if they didn't put in that like extra racism underlying subplot. So I'm not quite sure what they were going for, and I don't know how that's going to work with the rest of the series, especially if they're bringing in the Shuhan in the next seasons, because Crooked Kingdom has a character and who's from the Shuhan, and multiple, like, there's a lot of stuff that happens there later. It didn't quite work, I think, the way they wanted it to. I'm gonna leave down below some links to some Twitter threads by people of color who can explain this much better than I can. Alright, this ends the non-spoilery section of this video, so from here on out it's just gonna be a lot of yelling and a lot of fangirling. So go grab a snack or a drink. I think I'm gonna go do that, so I will be right back. Okay, this is where the spoilers happen, so don't get angry at me if you stayed this far and I spoil something for you, alright? Let's get into it. So, what they kept the same, basically scene for scene of Shadow and Bone. The Crow's abilities to plan and execute a heist. The tension between Pekka Rollins and Kaz. All the Grisha and their powers. Like I said before, getting to watch this world unfurl was beautiful. I don't know where they shot, but it's gorgeous. Like, I want to live in that house, I want those clothes, and I absolutely would love to be a part of the Crows and plan a heist. I wear a lot of black and am very flexible. Like, I can work something out. Inej, hit me up. Looking back on it, something that they did well was that they did go almost scene for scene, which is great because then we get more, you know, building of characters and we get more of the world instead of like in a movie where, you know, a lot of that would have had to be skipped over. But I think this also was to their detriment because a lot of the script, especially for Alina, came across as very, like, traditional YA heroine. Almost rolling my eyes because I'm like, oh my god, like, no one speaks like that. Like, get yourself together, girl. Like, what are you doing? But that's also, like, to the book and to the world. So, you know, as just someone who loves the book, I'm like, I see that that's a book thing, but maybe if you hadn't read the book, you might find her annoying. But at the same time, God bless those scriptwriters because you're saying all the right lines and the famous words, and it was so exciting to be able to be like, I see a real person in the kefta saying the line. Having the care and detail put into the set design and the character development, and even some of the magic was like a little weird looking, but I loved it because it's something that you can finally visualize, and seeing it laid out like that was just beautiful to behold. However, what they changed, overall, not too much, except for the fact that they mashed the heist plot line of Six of Crows into the Shadow and Bone book. They really didn't change that much. It was mostly the addition of characters. If you've read both series, this is not a spoiler, but in Six of Crows, we have the heist in the Ice Palace, but instead the heist is to capture Alina Starkov in Shadow and Bone at, like, the winter fete when she is, you know, shown to the world by the Darkling. So I think that actually did work very well, because it's still a heist. It's just a heist over here instead of over here, you know? They added in Poppy, who is that other courtesan, for Kaz to go speak to, which I think was fine. I think they just arranged a little bit, again, because they're mashing Six of Crows and Shadow and Bone together, they had to mash around and switch up who Kaz was, like, indebted to streamline some stuff, which was fine. They took out Wylan, which is a travesty. But if you listen closely, in one of the later episodes, Jesper says something about, oh, we need an explosives expert. I'm like, you better put up or shut up, TV XX, I want Wylan! They added in some characters, which actually I quite enjoyed. The conductor is like kind of great, and I love his plotline. The train that goes through the fold and like all the cuts on your arm, like how many times that you've gone back and forth. Genius. And it is also to him that we get Milo the goat. God bless you, sir. Milo is the real star of this show, and I will not be taking questions. They had that heart render in the very first episode that I thought was going to be Nina. So I'm glad that that wasn't actually Nina. It was just another heart render because, oh my god, Nina, we're talking about her later. Like I said, Alina's now half Shu, which adds some racial tension, which I like in theory, but not entirely great in the execution. Some of my favorite parts were actually just people that were already there that they beefed up. And I really appreciate that they were just adding in random characters, but they really developed the people who were already there. Like Mal's friends, whose names I totally don't remember. It was really awesome to be able to see Mal and see his friendships and like the way that he interacted with his army buddies, and even them, like they were some of my favorite characters. The Apparat, the king's spiritual advisor, very creepy by the way. That actor did a great job. He's not really in it that much, so I'm expecting to see him more in future seasons. And they gave the Darkling a little bit more of a sympathetic backstory. So, like, that's it! They did a great job! They only changed what they needed to, and the way that they changed it worked with the rest of the world. They weren't just kind of like adding in things for funsies. And like I said, I appreciate that they kind of used what was already there instead of trying to like build it up more, because this world already has so much world building in it that you didn't really need to add more. Alright, let's talk characters. I'm not a person that has celebrity crushes. I'm not really one to fawn over an actor. But I have a crush on every single person in that show, goddamn. I have to say, Jesper shines. He is the star of this every scene he's in. I would gamble the rest of my soul to be able to meet this man. Kit Young, you are a genius and I love you. Amira Suman, who plays Inej, is the Wraith. She embodies her so well. Her attitude is perfect, and her eye makeup is impeccable in every single scene. She's gonna kick your ass and look gorgeous while doing it. And I will say, I was skeptical about Freddie Carter, who plays Kaz, because Kaz is a big role to fill. Oh man, Freddie Carter nailed Kaz. It is so cool to watch this character come to life and plan these heists, and you can feel the tension between him and the rest of his crows, and oh man, I can't wait to see how this trio, which eventually becomes more, you just acts in the future seasons. Nina and Matthias are the dynamic duo. These actors have so much chemistry. Callahan Skogman, who plays Matthias, did such a great job at Matthias's kind of surly demeanor, and his accent is really cool. And I know that Nina can flirt, but goddamn, I was falling in love with her from behind the screen. Danielle Callaghan is just so beautiful! Now for the main cast, I will quote my friend Kyra, who says that Ben Barnes puts the darling in Darkling, and damn, she's right. He pulled this off. Okay, damn, yeah, Prince Caspian, you know the dark side, I'll follow you there. I'm just saying that, you know, if a hot villain talked about his manifesto, made out with me, turned to leave, came back, made out with me again, I likely would follow him to the dark side. I'm now single as well, so I am accepting villain applications starting next week. Please put the whole like making out while talking about a villainous manifesto in the first line of your cover letter. Thank you so much. I'm gonna say something slightly blasphemous, and that is, I think the characters that lacked the most were Alina and Mal. But I also need to clarify it's not for lack of trying, because Jessie May Lee and Archie Renault, who are Alina and Mal, their actors were great. Like, they put their all into it, especially Mal's character. That man went all out. Literally, I'm staring at the screen like, damn, okay, maybe Mal does deserve rights. I also think that the script stuck a little too traditional YA for them to fully break out of that role. Everything was about making sure that they were together. And so it was a little over the top at times. They had so much chemistry. I really enjoyed their scenes together. I just think that maybe the script made them a little awkward, especially Alina's characterization just kind of felt a little start-stop for the good first, like, half of the season. And oh my god, why is everybody crying all the time? I say as I was also the one crying, so I guess I don't really have a leg to stand on. I almost forgot Bagra! Oh my god, she was so great! Her actress is so wonderful, and she had that no-nonsense attitude. Hell yeah, we stan Bagra, she is fantastic, and I love that she's like, doesn't put up with anybody's shit. Also, quick shout out to Genya and Zoya. I have no complaints. I loved their actresses, who are Daisy Head, or Daisy Heed, who plays Genya, and Sajaya Dasgupta, who plays Zoya. Love her. Hope she's coming back. I really could talk about all of the nuances of character for so long, so we're gonna move on just a bit, and we're going to talk about some of my favorite scenes. Gotta say, the entire movie is atmospheric as fuck. The first time entering the fold, oh my god, it gave me shivers. You can see the fold like moving, and it kind of looks like scales or like waves or like something breathing. Oh my god, special effects artists, you get a raise. Anytime that they're on the ship and you can see the lightning and the outlines of the Volcra, the scary flat monster triangle face things. I love pirate movies, and so watching them go through the ruins of other ships, but on land, well, it's called the Unsea for a reason, I suppose. The end of the first episode, when Alina and Mal, like, it keeps flashing back to their time when they ran away and they're in the meadow and they're holding hands, and now they're both separated from each other and they're both trying to, like, reach their hand out. I'm gonna cry, like, right now. Oh my god, it was so emotional. The first time when Alina is introduced to the king and queen, and she and the Darkling are next to each other and they're like kind of putting on that little light show. I get chills whenever the shadows come out of the Darkling, so he like raises his hands and just like the whole place gets dark, and then she starts shining, and it was, oh, it was like, oh my god, I felt like I was there. And then at the end of that scene, when Alina gets to, like, go back into the crowd of Grisha, and Leigh Bardugo plays the Grisha who gets to hug her first. I knew that Leigh Bardugo was an extra in the kind of that Grisha horde, and I was like, oh, that's cool, you know, get like a little author cameo. But she gets to hug her character. She gets to hug something that she made that's being brought to screen. I'm actually crying. I'm somebody who loves stories, and being able to see them come to life is a beautiful thing, but can you imagine being the author and being able to be on this set of something that you created and having the person that you created be physically there so that you could hug them and you could accept them? It gets me right here. You know, anytime that Jesper and his guns show up, it's automatically a perfect scene. His sharpshooting, he's like turning around the mirror like, yeah, like checking himself out. I love Kit Young, he does such a good job. Nina and Matthias in the hut, a classic scene. Nina and Matthias eating waffles, also adorable. Seeing Morozova's stag for the first time, it was my favorite part of the trailer because it just turns and you see the entire antler setup. And as you can see, I'm a little obsessed with antlers, a little obsessed with animal bones. So to me, that was just stunning. And the part that goes along with the stag is watching Alina's amplifier get fused into her skin! In the book, it's just supposed to be an antler collar, like, necklace. But then they said, oh no, we're gonna go a step further, and oh my god, watching David just sink it into her collarbone so she sees like antlers coming out of her collarbone, that was sick as hell. And to wrap up, one of the favorite things that I laughed so hard at is in the very last episode, all of the dignitaries on a skiff, and they're going through the fold, and he pushes the fold out, and it envelops Kibrisk, and, you know, he does this speech about, like, you know, we will not bow to anyone, and, like, I control this weapon, and then one of the Heartrenders, like, kills them all, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna have to make that speech again. I don't know why, that's so funny! Like, I know it's supposed to be a serious, scary moment, but I love just the deadpan way that Ben Barnes said it. It's like, how much, you know, how often do we make fun of villains monologuing for a while? And the fact that he's fully aware of it is like, oh, damn it, I'm gonna have to do this again. Like, it shouldn't be funny, but that's damn hilarious. Alright, by this point I've been yelling for almost an hour and a half. I don't know what the final cut of this video is gonna be, but just, you know, trust me that I'm likely cut out a lot of fangirling. So I shall end this video with a section that is no less long, called Miscellaneous. So the first thing is something that I am very put out about, and that's apparently the fact that I've been pronouncing everything in these series is wrong. It is spelled Grisha with an I. It is pronounced Grisha by pretty much everybody that I know. Even by some people in this show, it's Grisha. And then everybody keeps saying Grisha. And I'm like, no, 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 no. There's no E. There's no long accented I. It is Grisha. This is the hill I will die on. The other thing is just dumb, and that's probably me and my bad pronunciation skills. But in the show, they're talking about Ketterdam money being Kruge, and I always thought it was Kruge. I know. One of my friends, Emma, pointed this out, is that the Darkling's outfit is that of a fabricator, which is a class of Grisha that make things. So, symbolism. Okay, Kaz, a gold raven head cane. Really? Don't you think that's a bit tacky? I'm fairly certain that in the books it's silver. So I don't know why they changed that for the show. I don't know if Kaz would go for that. It's a little flashy. They teased a lot of backstory specifically on the crows. So I'm hoping that in season 2 we get to fully explore that. Like, they're much more traumatizing than people expect, I think. Everyone's like, oh, it's a fun heist novel, until you find out that, like, why Kaz wears his gloves all the time and why Inej is so afraid of, you know, not being useful anymore. And another addition that they made with Inej is that she's very devout, and she's specifically devout to Alina, the Sun Summoner, and, like, saints, which I don't think was in the original book, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been, I read these, like, oh my god, it's been a year. I reread that last April. So apparently it has been an entire year. Time doesn't exist anymore. But that's a change that I think they pulled off, because it gives her this extra layer, and especially gives her an extra layer when she's doing anything related to her. Like, in the palace, when Alina shows off her magic and the crows are there planning the heist, and Inej is, like, in the corner with, like, tears in her eyes, it also messes up with, like, how Kaz sees her and, like, what she's willing to sacrifice for the mission. So, like, that's a change and an addition that really worked. So that is it! There are all my thoughts on the first season of the Shadow and Bone Netflix series. I am so happy that I stayed up until 1 a.m. finishing it. I got off work at 4 and I sat down, and except for one very quick shower and one very quick dinner break, I just binged the whole thing. And it's the only thing that I've been able to think about for the last 3 days. And according to the internet, it's the only thing that everyone else can think of either. So I hope that you enjoyed the video and that you kind of got some catharsis as well, just having someone else yell about stuff that happened. Please leave down below your own thoughts and feelings and your favorite scenes and things that you liked, or even critiques on it. I am also extremely excited for when merch drops from this line, because I want a kefta. Where am I gonna wear it? I don't know. I don't go outside. None of us go outside right now. I will wear it to work. I will wear it to the grocery store. I will wear that to get my vaccine. Oh my god, I want one so badly. They're so beautiful. Whoever did costuming, A+, you deserve an Oscar or a Grammy. I know those are acting, maybe they're music, I don't know, I don't follow award ceremonies, but you deserve one. I want a crow head cane, I want an antler necklace, I want the gorgeous hair pieces that they all have, I just want it all, you know? Like, this is something that I will willingly go broke for, and you know, I am an adult with money, and I can make my own decisions of what I spend my money on, and it might be a kefta, and none of you can stop me. If you made it this far, thank you very much for continuing to be here. If you haven't read the rest of this series, I would highly recommend it. These series play very well together. They have a lot of characters being brought together from both series in the last duology. It is teased that there's gonna be more. I don't know if that's actually gonna be a thing. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to spend so much time editing this now. Alright, we'll wrap this up. You know where to click like the video, you know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!